At all. It's just a matter of
Everybody. Good afternoon. Meeting of the Transportation Advisory Committee for the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. I will do a call to order. We have a quorum, and we will do introductions.
Kathleen Collins is the city Collins. So go ahead and turn it off in a couple minutes.
I don't know. No, you can't. You need to be here. Yes, but she's not voting.
We're doing an introduction.
Yeah, we are. Go ahead, Jason.
Jason Dosh, down at Palmer Lake.
Aaron Busto, Federal Highways.
Aaron Horsemeyer, Schriever Air Force Base.
Brian Vituli, City of Colorado Springs, Mountain Metro Transit.
You're next. Wendy Pettit, CDOT Region 2.
Sally Riley, City of Woodland Park.
John Lusatos, PPACG.
Anton Ramage, El Paso County.
And Catherine.
Catherine Winger, PPACG.
Jessica.
Jessica Bemdel, PPACG.
And I'm trying to stall just a little bit. Oh, I can stall for 2. We're doing introductions. Go ahead.
Deborah Baumgartner, USAPA.
And then Karen, and we'll be good to go.
Karen Birchgold, Neutral Springs.
And Brandy Williams, City of Fountain. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for a quorum, because we do have an item that needs to be voted on today. Are there any changes to the agenda? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Move approve.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments on the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comments? Can't imagine you're going to rush to the microphone, Catherine, so I think we're good on public comments. Yeah, you are the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? If there's
So
no
moved.
comments?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments on the minutes?
I just wanted to note, I guess for next time, that Manitou Springs representatives have changed since this list, and so Shelley Cobaugh is alternate. Michelle Anthony and Taylor Gertz are no longer serving as representatives.
Okay. Did you get that, Jessica?
Yeah.
Any other comments on the minutes?
While we're talking about the list, Laura Pellegrino is no longer an alternate. Darren Tangeman is the primary, and I am the alternate, just to correct that list. Thank you.
Did you get all of that, Jessica?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? John, Board of Directors report.
So the Board of Directors met yesterday instead of their normal meeting because of the bomb cyclone, or was that what?
Yep,
was
that's
that?
what it was.
Yep. So, yeah, we had to postpone that. So, again, thank you to all of you who had to keep all the roads clear throughout the region, but I was safe hiding away in my little house, so it was appreciated that you guys kept the roads moving. As far as the Board of Directors report, as far as items from yesterday that you had seen, the TIP amendment, that was the ramp metering, went to the board and was approved. The Title VI environmental justice and the limited English proficiency plan went to the board and was approved. And I believe those were the only two items of interest other than the TAC report. And I think we gave them the standard the Brian Vituli, the packet, the memo is in your packet. Let me know if you have any questions.
And you did that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for covering, John, since I
Yeah.
completely ignored Jessica's email on Friday.
Yeah, it was snowing. There were a lot of things going on.
Any questions for John on the Board of Directors? Action items, TIP amendment number 8. Catherine?
Catherine Wenger, Transportation Planner. We have a TIP amendment that encompasses three requests from CDOT. The first one and the second one are kind of tied together. They're from CDOT Region 2 to add funds in 2019 to an I25 Powers Extension project. Part of it is funded privately through a developer, which you see is the $52,367,700 from Copper Ridge Metro District, and that they will be doing the interchange, and then with oversight from CDOT in Colorado Springs. And then CDOT will be adding additional funds, just over $5.8 million to their original cost estimate to do the water quality mitigation, and that's going to be water quality funds for that one. So, and then the third project is from CDOT Division of Transit and Rail. They originally, a couple months ago, we amended the TIP to remove this project due to ineligibility. However, since they had already awarded those funds, they felt it necessary to find the funds elsewhere, so they found them in SB 228 from state funding to give community services and support some money for their ADA van, and that's $50,000. So we're asking to add that project back on. And I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions for Catherine?
So, sure. Catherine, so for that third item,
Yes.
I remember when that was taken away, and I thought the issue was it wasn't an open door service, so that's why Transit and Rail couldn't fund it.
Yes.
So how did that get worked out?
Well, it was originally funded under faster safety funds, I believe, and so it wasn't eligible there. And so because it was awarded a couple of years ago, they decided that they would find funds under the state bill funding instead. And so I think that the issue isn't ineligible under that funding type, is my understanding.
Okay, so they just found
They
another
honored
source
their
where
fund.
could just
They
buy them a
honored their
vehicle.
funding promise, but with a different source.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds like they just picked a different color of money that
Yeah.
fit the category.
But they did say not to expect that
Yeah.
funding again under that
Okay.
funding type. They just were using this as a cover for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Catherine.
You're the yes person, not me.
Catherine, can you bring up the map of the interchange? And
Sure.
just explain a little bit, is this replacing the clover leaf that is just north of this?
Nope.
No, this is a new interchange that it will be extending the I-20, or the Powers Boulevard all the way to 25.
And it was determined to be necessary when it's seems so close to an existing clover leaf.
I don't know if I should speak on it. It goes up through Flying Horse, it's going to continue north. Powers will continue up through Flying Horse.
And it's local money,
Okay.
so it's not us paying for it.
But I'll continue with Sally's line of thinking. CDOT's okay with how these two interchanges work right next to each other?
Well, it ties into the Powers extension, so that's a savings in the long run.
Right.
As that, we finish the Powers and tie into that at some point. So that's how that got started. And that was Kathleen that started this whole thing in 2006.
So the Powers Interchange is going to next year?
At some point, yeah, there's some way, somehow, yes.
Right.
I'm good with that, some way, somehow.
Right.
And I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Right. The right of way exists for Powers all the way
Correct.
through there.
Right.
But-
You can go through the ECA of the.
Right. It's the funding that is the somehow, some way.
And one other thing, Mark Andrew drafted most of this, so when John's name is spelled incorrectly, I didn't do that.
I hadn't noticed.
Any other questions for Catherine? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve?
Move approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments on tip amendment number 8? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Catherine. But on to Catherine. Discussion item, CDOT construction project agencies training.
So this is a training through CDOT's program. Let me make sure I get it correct. Their transportation engineering training program that they have, multiple types of project management and construction management training there. This one is specific to local agencies, construction project administration. So any projects that you have through us, you're considered local agencies for CDOT. And so they're doing training in Pueblo early next year, so it's a ways away. They have another one in Durango, I think, coming up as well, if you really wanted to get on the board sooner. It's $350. It's a 2-day course, and it's going to go over project administration and all of the details of what you would need to move your projects forward through the CDOT system and, all the federal requirements. So I know there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions regarding that, and CDOT's been really good, and Patty and I think Jimmy is his name have been helping a lot there. But if you have anyone that wants to get more in detail on that project administration side, there's going to be a class, and there's more information in this memo, or you can talk to me or Patty, and we can get you signed up. So just wanted to let you know about that. And that's going to be January 22nd, so a ways away.
Do you know when the other one is that's sooner?
I forgot to look that up. I can look that up and send it out, and
That would be helpful.
along with the sign-up sheet, so
Okay.
that everybody has that.
That sounds good.
I will look that up for you.
Any questions for Catherine?
And one other thing, I was planning on attending myself and then having a summary of that to present to TAC as well. So even if you can attend, I plan to summarize that and kind of have more local training on just an overview of project administration, just so everyone has that as well. So that's the plan.
Okay, item 7B, tip policies and procedures draft edits.
This we brought to you last month, talking about the policies and procedure changes that we were proposing. Not a lot of big changes or anything, but you've had a chance to kind of look those over, but we just wanted to remind you that that's still an open item, and that we plan to hopefully have the comments and questions from you all by May 10th, and then we'll bring that to you for information item in May, and then hopefully have a final draft for approval in June. And so we just wanted to check in on that and see if anyone has any comments now or if they have any questions for me. Yes.
I have a question. Is the draft that was included in the February packet the most up-to-date draft?
It is, yes. There are a few
Okay.
comments that I need to add in from Tim and Victoria, but those are, I was going to compile those with everyone's comments, but it's the latest.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Catherine? Thank you, Catherine. Member entity announcements. Anybody? Brian?
Sure. Yesterday, we had a press event at our vehicle maintenance shop for the I25 My Way travel demand management effort. So it's kind of being led by Dr. Cog, and CDOT Transit and Rail people were down, so they had a Mustang vehicle there. We had our carpool, van pool information in Waze, which is like a carpool app where people can connect via an app to, for a one-day share ride up to Denver or something like that, to a ball game or something like that. The efforts to try to get cars out of the I-25 GAP project, and just there are a lot of incentives. I believe there are like $200 incentive to our existing van pool customers and everybody's van pool customers, but also to attract other customers to van pools. And I believe, going from Colorado Springs to Denver is anywhere between $205, $250, depending on where they're going. So that's it's one month free, basically. And with an effort that if we can get people out of their vehicles now, it will help the construction project, get cars out of the congestion of the construction project, and hopefully, get them to be long-term Mustang users or van pool, carpool users. So, and there was a lot of good press, I think, that came out of that today. There were 3 or 4 media sources there, and so it was a good event, and didn't snow, so we had it, and the buses weren't dirty, because we were kind of worried about that. We heard there was a chance of a little bit of snow Tuesday night, and we were wondering if the Mustang vehicle was going to show up, like all black and dirty and everything, but it was clean, so it was good.
Sally?
Brandy, I thought it might be good for us to share our meeting last Friday that we had at the Independence Center.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
I'm volunteering you. Thank you.
Okay. Most of you may be familiar with the Independence Center, but it's a nonprofit organization that advocates for disabled folks and ensuring that handicap accessibility is followed. And their concern is that regional building department does not inspect or has responsibility outside the building beyond 5 feet. So if the local jurisdiction is not looking at their development plans and inspecting those development plans very carefully for handicap parking and accessibility, there could be some gaps there that we're not servicing our entire population with. So they had all of the local jurisdictions that are under regional building department. We were missing Manitou and Monument and Palmer Lake. So they wanted to emphasize to us how important this is, and that if we are looking at resurfacing any of our parking lots, whether public or private sector, is to ensure that we evaluate the handicap parking, the ramps, and whatnot for customers to be able to, or clients to be able to access buildings. They are planning on hosting a seminar for the concrete and asphalt companies so that it elevates their awareness, because one of our most difficult aspects is the old parking lots that were pre-ADA requirements. So to retrofit some of the older parking lots and ensure that they meet the accessibility standards. And then I also learned that private sector, there is a tax credit option that if they do the improvements, ramps, handicap parking, it's up to a 50% tax credit that their accountants can write off on that private property owner's federal tax. So I thought it was really helpful to hear some of the concerns and the perhaps incentives that are out there and work together on that.
Yeah, I would say so. At least the consensus in that small group that was brought together was not to change regional buildings jurisdiction at this time. And I'm not saying they're not going to come back to the board, because they were at the board meeting that I made it to, but that meeting did take place, and that was the message that was conveyed. Any other announcements? John? You look like you're
I was just
dying
getting
to say
ready for the next item, future
Okay.
items. So everyone, for what I'm handing out is a excerpt of the stack agenda. First page is the agenda, so you have some frame of reference. Then the memo is on what they're calling the planning reset, and it's basically the memo, and then the accompanying PowerPoint is talking about how the statewide planning process may change. So this will be on the stack agenda tomorrow, and we will be in attendance. So for a future agenda item, if there is any impact on what we need to do with our planning process or whatever, we'll bring that back to you in the future. But I just wanted to kind of print this out for you so you all could look through it yourself. I think one of the things that caught my eye was it looks like they're taking the statewide transit plan and incorporating it into the statewide plan. So instead of them being two separate plans, I think, if I understand this correctly, I'll know more tomorrow, that they're going to just have that one sort of consolidated plan. And if that's the case, I think then we're going to have to give transit a lot more time and a lot more of our energies moving forward into our planning process. So, Wendy, I don't know, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but hey, let me put you on the spot. Is there anything on this that you'd like to? It's not an agenda item, since this is future agenda item, so you can't say anything specific, but to the point of what we might want to revisit in the future at a future agenda meeting item.
The one thing I thought was interesting out of the conversation from yesterday was not so much that the planning changes, because I think what is happening here is they're just going to take a step back and they're going to continue forward with the 2040 direction that we were using when we created that capital improvement program, and we had our fiscally constrained STIP, and then they have the capital projects on that other list. So I think that is kind of the direction that Shoshana Liu is taking us, and that makes it easier to build upon that 2040 plan, to bring it up to date to 2045, and then when she gets to 2050, she'll have the ability to implement all those technology changes and some of the other things that we were trying to get into play now. The one other thing I think that we need to pay attention to is a one-liner that I saw in the budget discussion from yesterday, and I sent this on to John this morning. There being the OFMB folks, the executive management of CDOT, they're looking at the roll forwards. So that means the region roll forwards, that means local roll forwards. Any federal money that's rolling forward will not have the same leniency that we've had in the past. The region's just as bad about rolling money forward as any of the rest of us around the table that we've had to deal with this whole process now with the 2020 expiration. We have the same problem happening, and it's everywhere. It's not just specific to this MVO. I mean, Pueblo has the same problem. The region has the same problem. So I think there's going to be some changes in how that process is allowed to go and for how long. So moving forward, we need to do a better job of putting projects together as phases versus totality.
All right. And again, so a future agenda item, we'll learn more, we'll bring it back. But I think sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we've been talking with CDOT about this too, so I just wanted to throw in my perspective on this presentation is this evolution of the STIP. So as you know, CDOT recently switched to the annual update of a rolling 4-year STIP, as they call it. Now they're looking at a 10-year STIP, and I don't know any more specifics of how often it's going to be updated, if that will change the MPO process or anything, but something to keep aware of because that might have direct impacts on the TIP process. But it is looking at 10 years instead of the 4 years.
All right. So we'll learn more and bring it back to you. But again, I think a part of this and part of the discussion when we come back to is, again, how do we make sure that we're not vulnerable, and that comes back to delivering the projects that we have. If there are projects that are lagging behind, again, let's trade them out for projects that are ready to go, and then move them back into the program or into the future. And again, I'll just remind everybody, Mark Andrew was saying that he's got some RPP funds in 2025, 2024, that he could use money right now for 24 West. Is that correct? So he's got $10 million in 24 West. So if you've got a project that you need to use now, you could trade that to CDOT and then get money back in the 2024, 2025 timeframe. That, again, buys you more time, again, if it's a difficult project that you're having issues making sure you deliver, because, again, this sort of signals the coming to the end of the leniency, I think, is the way to put it, is the way you put it, right?
But we can't use TAP or CMAQ money. It has to be STP.
It has to be the Metro, yeah. But we didn't discuss any of that right now. This is all future agenda items.
Correct.
What?
So what you just handed out, and again, since obviously we know I can't check my email like I would like to, do the rest of the members have that agenda for the stack, or
You mean the other members of the...
ones that aren't sitting here today?
No, Catherine printed this out for me, and I made copies, and it just, if you're at the table, you got a copy.
Okay.
But we can include it as a PDF as part of the minutes, or do you want to go out faster than that?
Probably faster than that for
Sure, we'll send that out.
You can
Tim
send
and...
the link to the packet and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, that way we've checked the box for those who
Sure.
were forced not to be here.
Jess, do you have time today to send, if we get you a link, can you send that out to everyone today? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other items for future TAC meetings or anything else we want to discuss while we're all sitting in the same place? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, good. Thanks, guys.
And
Oh,
now
sorry.
now that the meeting's over, just a reminder, Ken Prather is retiring, and his going away is in this room next Tuesday from 4 to 6.